For this Easter themed bunny DIY, I have this wood block. This came from Wix's. They come in 1.8 to 2.4 metre lengths or something like that, but I've cut it down to 28 centimetres by 14 centimetres wide, and I have gently sanded the edges just to take off the sharpness, the top and bottom. And I'm going to paint this piece of wood with a wood wash. So I've got this paint wash, I've got this brown, and I want to make it a nice sort of dark brown. So I'm going to add a bit of black, and I've got a bit of water here to add into it just to make it a wash on the wood so the grain shows through slightly. And once that's dried, I'm going to use my template here, which is of a little bunny with a floppy ear that I've drawn. And I'm going to stencil that onto the piece of wood using a pencil on the back, just shading and then drawing over the top to get the line on the wood. And then I'm going to paint in the bunny with this Rust-Oleum chalky finish Hessian colour. So it's sort of a slightly off-white, a cream colour. And then once I've got the bunny on there, I've got this lovely little felt flower that I've made in this beautiful sort of light peach blush kind of colour. For more felt flowers and how to make them, I'll put that in the description box below, link up some of my other videos. But this one's just going to be its little bunny tail, and it'll sit just in the middle of his bottom to be his little fluffy bunny tail. The first step I need to do is I need to do my paint wash on the block of wood. So like I said, I've got this brown here, so I'm going to squeeze that in. But I want that a little bit darker than what the tube's giving me. So I've got this Peebo black. I'm going to just squeeze in a little bit just to darken the colour ever so slightly. I can always add a bit more if I want to later on. And then to make it a wash, I've got this water just to thin down the paint. So then mix it all in together. Make sure I get all the bits. I might add a little bit more water, just a little bit thick for what I'm looking for there, but you can see it's a nice darker brown now, but I do want a little bit more watery just to add that wash lightness. And I think sometimes it's easier to add a bit more water and do 2 coats than it is sometimes to do too much, not add enough, sorry, and your paint to be too thick. Let's see what this looks like. There we go, so you can see it's just coming through. And what we can do, once I've got this all on, if we get a bit of kitchen roll, and we can just rub away the excess, so it just leaves this lovely stained wood colour. So I'll go get a bit of kitchen roll and show you what I mean. So with a bit of kitchen roll scrunched up, oh goodness, just wipe away the top excess, and we're left with a lovely coloured stained piece of wood. There you go. And like I said, if it's not dark enough for you, you can always add another round once that has dried. I'm going to work on the edges now, and I'll be doing exactly the same, just putting on the paint and then rubbing it off with my kitchen roll. If you're enjoying this video, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already, do consider subscribing to my channel to be one of the first to know when I upload a new crafty inspiration video. Once you've painted the whole of your bit of wood, you just leave that one side to dry. Once your block of wood has dried, the next step is to get your bunny transfer onto your bit of wood. So like I said, I've got this bunny transfer that I've drawn up with a floppy ear, little feet coming out, and I'm going to go over the back and just gently with the pencil shade over the line where the lines are. And I'll do that all over the design. And you just keep lifting it up just to make sure that I am shading on the lines that I need to be. You could also, if you've got a light box, it's always very handy. If you've got a window close by, just put the piece up at the window and it gives you the view of where you need to be perfectly, which is something I would do if I was away from the camera and just making this to sell or for myself. And the other way of doing this, if you didn't want to do it with a graphite transfer with your pencil, you can do it with chalk. You can put chalk exactly the same, rub chalk over the back, so where the lines are, and then you can draw through, trace over the top, like we shall do in a second, and the chalk will leave a line on your foot of wood rather than the graphite from your pencil. So once you've shaded over all your lines, what you do then is you get your piece of wood and you position your guide on the top where you want it to be, and just trying to make sure it's as central as possible. I mean, it won't matter too much. Okay, that's good. And then you just use your pencil and you go over your lines this side, like that. And then using the graphite that you put on the bottom the other side, you should have a line to follow in a minute when we get to painting the bunny rabbit. And then hopefully let's lift it off. There we go. Have a lovely transfer of a bunny rabbit ready to paint. So to paint this bunny rabbit, I'm using, like I said earlier, this Hessian chalky paint, and I've got a little pot. I prefer to decant it out rather than use straight from the tin. And this Hessian, it's not a pure white. It's sort of a light beige kind of paint. Obviously you can paint your bunny whatever colour you wish. I just thought this would be a nice compromise and contrast to the wood wash we put on there earlier. So getting a nice paintbrush, whichever one you feel more comfortable with, and then just work your way around your bunny, painting in the lines. And there you have my bunny. And looking at it now, his head this side is slightly lower than this side. And looking at the design that I had, that is as per design, but when it's drawn out, you don't really notice it so much. But when it's in like this, you do notice it a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring down that headline so it comes into his body on a little bit more level side here. So that's, so just scoop that up and in. So I'm not changing the line too much, just enough. so that I like it, I guess. I mean, that's the whole point of doing art, isn't it? Something that you like. There's the little bunny, bless him. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and once that's dry, I'm going to glue our flower on his bottom as his tail. So now my bunny is dried. The last bit I've got to do is add her tail on. So using my glue gun, turn it over and place your flower in the middle of your bunny's bottom and push it down to secure. And there we have a fabulous Easter themed mini DIY.